Oh, I see we are live.
Yeah, hi everybody, and welcome to the 10th point Canadian Highlander weekly tournament series. It is, as usual, your host, the Redvage, and joining me this week and most weeks is Loman02. Hi, Loman.
Hey, how's it going, man? I feel like a combat reporter because we're definitely starting in Madius race. We're
Yeah, we
jumping in
have,
around two, which is good. Stuff happens, right?
yeah, we've had some issues. I've actually been unable to get to my usual streaming position, which is in my office at work. I think the doors have been locked due to the ongoing pandemic, and they are trying to limit access at times where they can't control who goes in or out. So that wasn't great. Specifically, that wasn't great because I didn't know, and well, we're gonna have to see what that means going forward. But for now, for today, we're kind of running from my bedroom in a way that is, well, it's a little patchy. We're gonna have to see how that goes. If I know beforehand, I can probably set things up in a way that makes sense. Although it's gonna be a little bit of a pain, but we're gonna if we're streaming from home, but we're gonna have to see what it looks like. Either way, um, what we're starting between round one and round two today. Round one is almost finished. We had. We have had two rounds already done. Actually, I've seen Loring is in the chat, and I've also seen that like Einstein and Future Diary, I guess, or derNicky, whichever name she decides they decide to go with. They changed their name on Discord recently, so I don't know if I should use the new one or the old one or whatever. But either way, I see that we have them in chat, so if they want to give us a short idea of how their games went, that's appreciated. In the meantime, actually, before we do that, couple of reminders. I am. If you want to sign up for this tournament, your best resource is the Discord. You can type exclamation point Discord in the chat. That brings you to the Highlander Discord, which is a awesome. Lots of great people. B, it's where we run this tournament from, so it's gonna have all of the resources that you need in order to sign up, including the poll. I don't have a poll set up for you to link yet, but I will probably at some point in the middle of the stream. Also, if you like what we're doing, I if you like what we're doing and you want us to do it better in the future, you could consider subscribing to the channel. Uh, that's uh, that's always it's always appreciated. I have some ideas for where to go um, with this tournament series that could use a few bucks worth of budget. Let me put it this way. Obligatory reminder about Bezos box and free subscriptions and Amazon Prime and all of that. I'm gonna spare you all of that. Okay. Round one summaries. Loading. How did it go? I see you. I see you're not muted.
All right, so game one, me versus Evermist. Evermist, I believe, is on a variant of Elves right now. Uh, Game one went with me being crushed by uh, Merit Lage. That's the card. Uh, so that one was pretty one-sided. Game two, game two, a lot of things were played. I believe I was behind that game, and then I came back with a Languish. While Evermist, I believe, had 0 cards in hand, and that was the end of that game. And then the last game was just me just beating Evermist's face after more board wipes.
Are you still
Actually
playing
came
that?
to
Are you still playing that mono black like techie pile of sideboard card deck?
Yeah, so this week I believe I submitted it as mono black tiny finger skateboards, which
Okay.
is because it is the mono black tech deck. So it for anyone wondering, it's a weird control sort of aggro deck wherever it's based around value creatures and recursion. So a lot of things like Nether Trader, Bloodghast, that sort of thing, and a lot of board wipes. I've gone pretty deep on the board wipes, so that
You're
if
playing
whenever I
Languish,
do,
so yeah.
hey, I like Languish.
I mean, Languish is what, number 5 in the board wipe
think so.
rankings?
So
Black board wipe
my-
rankings? 4 maybe?
Yeah,
It's,
yeah. My ordering is for this at least is probably Deluge and Damnation are both at the top, and you can sort of swap those out as
I
your
mean,
meta is.
Dead of Winter is probably better than Damnation for you, right?
I keep meaning to put Dead of Winter in the deck, but I have not. That's just because of me. Languish is probably at the bottom, and then right above Languish is Yeheni's Expertise, one of my favorite cards in the deck.
How do you feel about Mutilate?
I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Mutilate.
Mutilate gives all creatures on the battlefield -X/-X. It is a black 2 casting cost sorcery, and it gives -X/-X, where X is equal to the number of swamps that you have in play. It may be that are in play. I don't recall on that. I think it's
swamps, but
yeah, maybe all. I don't recall on that. It's an old card, so it may work with her board to do more if your opponent has cards that are lands in play. It's an interesting one.
I don't think I like it. I think it's
Okay.
nice in the late game, but if you don't get there, it's. I mean, I'd probably
it sounds
put it in
like for
over
your
Languish.
deck, it's like it starts from Languish.
It's the same
and
as
goes
Languish,
up.
right? It's about the same as Languish.
Yeah, it's around the same as Languish. Maybe one or two less.
Well, I guess you play a
But
bunch of
yeah.
non-basics. It's fair.
Well, I run like a handful. I've got Frostwalk Bastion, Mishra's Factory, Castle Lochthwain, Cabal Pit, Bajuka Bog, and Bayou, and then I've also got Mox Jet in the mix.
But Bayou is a swamp, so it works.
Bayou is a swamp. Or sorry, that and Strip Mine. Strip Mine is also in the deck.
Like it sounds like in most of the games it's gonna start at Languish and then just be better because you're probably gonna have like you're likely that your lands are swamps, but
Yes. Yeah.
so I don't know. It's probably and it's probably in the ballpark.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like where it is right now. I don't think I've put in more than the 3 or 4 board wipes I've got right now. I mean, I guess if you want to count Crypt Rats as a board wipe, you can.
It's board wipe-ish.
It's board wipe-ish. That's a good way to put it. It's a weird deck, and I'm not going to lie to you. It's a lot of spot removal, a lot of disposable stuff. It's weird.
I have updated the next poll command so that now it points at the sign up poll for next week. Do we have Einstein or derNicky in chat? I'm gonna take that as a no. I would jump into one of the games that is still going at this point. Sadly, I need to make my webcam stay a little bit more still in some way. Sadly, I can't quite because because for whatever reason, Modo doesn't display games if I jump into the tournament discussion room after they have started. So, well, we're stuck with staying in the booth. I guess I think that I guess we haven't done. So while we are here, actually, why don't we spend a couple of minutes talking about what our season standings are for this season? I guess we went into that a little bit at the end of last season, but I think it's still gonna be pretty. At the end of last week, I think it's gonna be pretty interesting to talk about it. Just please go away. Talk about it a little bit. And that's gonna require me. Oh, jeez, I hate this so much. There you go. All right, there you go. I put the list on. Why do you have all of these? Yeah, I put the rankings on screen. Well, I didn't yet. Now I did. There you go. So we have as you have managed as you can see, the main story of this season is Bailite's meteoric ascension to the top. He started pretty much locked into a struggle with Secret Pipesman for control of the top. Sadly, Secret Pipesman hasn't been able to make the last 2 or 3 events, and that has allowed Bailite to take advantage of the accent of their absence and just jump up. And now he has a pretty commanding lead of like 4 or 5 points, 4.5 specifically. Rounding up the top 3, we have Boggy, who also is absent today, I believe. So it's a good opportunity for the people that are left behind, that are trying to catch up to like put the 3rd position in jeopardy. This is the first tournament actually that Boggy misses, so that's surprising. Luca is also an interesting story for the last 2 weeks, because he has signed up for a grand total of 2 weeks, and he has won the last 2 tournaments, and that has jumped him from 0 to all the way up to 14 points and in 4th position. And if he wins today again, which, I mean, it's gonna be hard, but if he gets there, he's gonna go to 21 points, and he's gonna be actually in contention to attack the top 3. Luca is a person that also has helped me in the booth a lot throughout the season, so I have to thank him for that. And he has been basically trying to sneak into the tournaments whenever I could make things work without him. And he's been making the most of it. Finally, in 5th position, we have derNicky, which is kind of recoiling from a no-show penalty, but she's been pretty reliable outside of that. And yeah, she's at 12 points. She's here today. She's trying to get back on the train and trying to see if she can secure her top 5 position, because she's kind of locked into a struggle between Luca and Loading, which are both trying to get into the top 5 and make the season end. Well, everybody's still going? What is going on?
Longer game, man. Longer game. You said we're unable to jump into this one?
Yeah, I tried, but Moto doesn't display games unless I was in the vintage tournament practice room when they started, so
okay.
I can't actually see them. What is Necropotence on? Because like I expect Luca's probably still on the ninja deck.
Probably a blue-black / I'm sorry, Grixis Vault deck is what they typically play. That'd be my guess.
Do you know what DavePickles is on?
I'm sorry, who?
DavePickles.
What DavePickles? No, off the top of my head, I don't. Don't we have the deck list over there? I don't have a look.
No,
at the,
I
the
do.
Google
I just
stuff
was
right now,
trying, you know, like I can't
Yeah,
juggle too many screens.
I may have played. I may have played Dave recently. I just don't recall.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It's hard for me to. Let me. It's hard for me to juggle a bunch of as many windows as I usually do, just because
gotcha.
I have less screen size than usual. So I was hoping to avoid having to check, but I'll check. Sign up polls, week 9, responses. Okay, so let's check this one out. Individual. Okay, so Necropotence is on a deck that she decided to call my 10th point Vault of Time and Space Typhoons that negate spells, which, okay, and yeah, it's Grixis Vault. Vault is a deck that I have played a lot of in the last few months, although the deck I play is just blue-black. What is usually the red? What is the red splash for usually?
Board impact.
Oh, just
stay alive.
And
stay alive, yeah.
Like bolts and
just,
removal spells. And
yeah, well, I mean, like think about it this way. Like, you know, if you're on blue-black vault, like your mana is going to be more consistent. Like you have accessibility to like some hoser cards, like Back to Basics. Your mana will typically be more consistent, but your removal is going to be less flexible. I.e., like, you know, you don't have red-based cards that can go to walkers. In general, red removal is a little more flexible and efficient than black removal in terms of creature elimination. I think on the blue-black variants, you tend to see more mass removal as opposed to point removal, which can, in Vault, I think, be more relevant and is a reason to assume more risk on your mana base, because if you're playing against like decks like Death and Taxes, or even Red Deck Wins, where you have cards like Harsh Mentor, Phyrexian Revoker, you know, Eidolon of the Great Revel. There are certain cards in like several of the better aggressive decks that can completely showstop you. And it's not that you don't have answers in black specifically, but I think red-based answers just tend to be a little cheaper, and they allow you to have more mana-efficient turns and kind of be more of a, I would say, matchup percent neutral deck than the blue-black version. The blue-black version is probably generally just faster. It can be built more linear than Grixis, but I think Grixis is probably the better overall combo control deck on the control end of the spectrum. You also get Gamble. If you really want to go heavy, you can get Goblin Welder, you can get Goblin Engineer. You know, if you want to go as deep as to Ready, Trash for Treasure, you can do all that. Like, those are decks too, but they're not really the Grixis Vault that we're kind of talking about. There is, I think, a separate deck that is more of like an artifact, like almost like your Scrap Mastery Commander deck, but like it's good.
A hybridization that I've seen sometimes with the when somebody starts put the red cards in is to play the Time Vault combo, but also play Splinter Twin combo. And one of the interesting things that you see from that point of view is that once you flash in your Deceiver Exarch or your Pestermite, those actually untap Time Vault and let you take an extra turn.
Sure. So, yeah, I mean, they do. I personally kind of don't like treating it as a combo buffet deck. If you do, like, I like wrapping my arms fully around the artifact component of it. Red does have some pretty good cards that work well with artifacts. You know, like some of the ones I named, some of those are a little bit more donkey cards, like Trash or Treasure is not good, but like you get Dak Faden, which filters you through draws, Royal Scions gets you through draws, you have Faithless Looting, which gets you through cards. And like Time Vault's a deck where like, you know, you can kind of get away with, in my opinion, you know, in certain matchups, having some cards that are not per se card advantage, but due to the nature of the deck you're playing and perhaps the matchup you're in, like not all your cards are going to be relevant anyways, and getting the right ones can be really relevant. And then again, like you just get Lightning Bolt, you get Chain Lightning, you get Forked Bolt. Like those are just really cheap, good answers in the format to decks that are going to try to kill you really fast. You know, and on some draws, you're just not going to be that fast, you know, as a Time Vault deck. Like sometimes you just turn 4 them, right? Or turn 1 them, even if you have like the spread for it on like a Mana Vault or whatever. But it's going to be more rare that you have those like high percentile draws where like you just high roll someone and like you got to grind for it. And during that time frame, a deck that's likely a little more consistent in its progression, could just randomly beat you to death. And, having those kind of cards, I think, does help a bit. That said, I mean, if there's more Moon in your meta, or if there's more Price of Progress in your meta, like, it may be...
Don't run more colors. Yeah, that seems
yeah, I mean, you don't have to. I mean, like, it's just, it's a risk. It's a risk you assume. Like, I think there's benefits to going both ways with the deck.
We were talking about Black Wraths before. Necropotence has Crux of Fate in their deck.
Okay. I mean, I haven't seen Medium Red. Like, Medium Red would kind of be an embarrassing card because, like, do you name dragons? Because there's probably going to be one on the board.
Well, all of their creatures are dragons. You can kill their dragons.
Well, they're probably not. They're probably not all dragons. Like, they're probably some dragons because they play like 10 of them or something like that. Maybe not 10, but like 6 to 7. Yeah, I mean, that's a big flashy card. I don't.
Yeah,
I assume they're running a lot of Wraths. Some of it also is Necropotence is on more of a budget with their MTGO collection, so I do know that they've had to make some choices in their card inclusions to kind of work within their budget as they develop the deck. But I think it's it's like anything, man. Like, it's a continuous process of improvement on these decks. Even if you're a master of the format, like, you never get them perfectly right, and I have a hard time believing that a lot of folks say, like, this is the right build of Red Deck Wins, this is the right build of Death and Taxes. No, they're not. Like, they're right for
definitely, like,
they're right for the event you're in, or they're not. And it's like it changes so much, So
in general, a deck, you can never make the argument that the deck is just right for right in general, right? The deck is just right for a tournament. That's how long the rightness of a deck lies.
That's language is commonly used by most.
Fluctuates and changes, especially on the small amounts.
Well, I do think there's, in general, for archetypes, like, core cards that, like, it's pretty hard to not play. Like, if you're playing red, like, why are you not playing Lightning Bolt? If you're playing, like...
I'm not saying that there aren't quote-unquote auto-includes in some decks, but obviously like, that doesn't
varies.
Mean that, like, the last 10 cards in your deck are probably, or even the last 20 cards in your deck are probably not. Yeah. There are definitely a number of flex slots when the possibilities are as open as these.
It varies. I don't think Crux of Fate probably ever makes the cut if you have access to better sweeper effects, but it does the job. It does the job, right?
Yeah, I mean, when you cast, for sure, and some creatures will die if they're on the board.
More than likely all of them. There's not a ton of dragons in the format.
There aren't very many dragons. DavePickles is on 8-track.
8-rack, cool. Okay.
Well, I mean,
that's right. Yeah, I've seen Dave play.
I don't know if he's playing actual 8 copies of the rack.
Pretty close. Pretty close. I bet. Like,
he's on a Grixis deck that aims to attack the hand and then win with racks. He's playing.
Sure. I mean, you have, like, the literal rack. You have Rackling. You have Stormworld. You have Davriel. You have Nezumi Shortfang. That's just what I can do off memory. So that's 5. Yeah. Like, there's 3 more.
Torture, I see, is playing.
Sure. Iron Maiden is another one. Like, there's or Iron Maiden may be hand size bigger. I forget, but, like, there's 8 of them probably.
Yeah, there's times. There's stuff. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a ton of racks. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of them in the game. I don't know them all off the top of my head, but I know it at minimum 5.
What is it? Something Shriek?
Lavaborn Muse. Someone just brought that one up.
Hellfire Mongrel.
There's a bunch of them. They in general look like nonsense, and they kind of are nonsense. But, like, when your resources are reduced to non-existent, like, essentially you've been, like, kind of like locked out of playing Magic, you can kill someone any way you want, and the rack is probably just as good as anything else. So I think for decks like it, and like Prison generally, it's how do you generate a state in which your opponent no longer plays Magic, and then killing them is kind of an afterthought, and the rack makes perfect sense if your plan is to deny them hand zone resources. So
speaking of the match, Bailite managed to win over DavePickles 2-1. And we have both of them. I see both of them here in the shot. They're muted, but if one or both of them can give us a short description of how the match went. uses.
Maybe they're bashful. Maybe they're bashful.
Nah, they might just not.
I bet it was long and grindy, assuming that you basically had a prison hand attack deck fighting against a like 2-for-1's Abzan deck.
Yeah, DavePickles says there are like 11 racks in the deck if you include Croxa, but calling Croxa a rack is a little bit.
Crocs is not a rack. That's. I'm sorry, Dave. That's not a rack. That's just a discard spell.
Is Megrim a rack?
No. It's so Megrim is a payout for the plan that deck's on, but I wouldn't call it a rack. Like it's not a rack. A rack just does damage on upkeep based on how many cards you have in your hand. If it's 4 or less, like that's a rack. But like Megrim's close enough. Like it's another reason to win.
Like probably.
Yeah.
Like if you want to play 8-track in Highlander, you might have to get a little waste not. Definitely not a rack.
Yeah. I want to play Megrim rack. I'm sorry, not rack. Megrim memory jar combo.
Remember the deck in standard?
Yeah. I can't forget it.
I'm just gonna. No, Black Vice is not a rack. Black Vice is the opposite of a rack.
No, it's the opposite. That's an Iron Maiden. So I always mix the two up.
Bailite says that games 1 and 2 were short, one for each of us, and then game 3 went long with empty hands for a long time, and then each of us would see it eventually getting me enough resources to get there.
Okay. Yeah.
So, for those that are not super familiar with, late, 1999, 2000 era Magic, so Urza block was renowned for being one of the most busted blocks in existence, right? Possibly the most busted. And at the end, so Urza's Saga comes out. They had to bench a bunch of cards, and then Urza's Legacy comes out. And the legend says that Randy Bueller and what is the name of the lead developer? Eric Lauer, we're looking at cards that were in the set, right? And so Memory Jar, and we're like, wait a second, this card is completely stupid and nobody knows. So they booked the heads to Paris, which is where the next GP was. Go to Paris, and then they both paid the event or something absurd. I think one of them won it. And the next is this I don't know if Academy was still legal at the time.
I can explain that. I can explain the deck pretty well because I played then. All so right. I played that deck. Like it's a fucked up deck. Excuse the language, but
no, it is absolutely.
You have the following cards that are at your fingertips at the time. You have Mox Diamond. I want to say Academy. Mana Vault was a card because it was released in 6th ed or something like that. And then you, I believe, also had Dark Ritual. I could be wrong on that though. and you had Memory Jar, and you had Megrim. Like Megrim is a real bad card. Like it's real bad out of context. But what you would essentially do
so that you win after you Memory Jar, and that does it.
Yeah, and I think you also had Tinker. I can't recall if Tinker was a part of that deck as well. Tinker may have already been gone. I think Tinker was around too. I think it was a Tinker deck. So basically, you have like all these degenerate fast mana cards that with an Academy and with this 5 mana artifact that draws people whole new hands, and they discard them at the end of their turn. So what you do is use all of this accelerated mana to generate vast amounts of mana, right? Yeah. You'd cast multiple jars in a turn. Yeah. Your jars would draw you into more fast mana. You'd put more fast mana down and cast more jars, and then you'd have 1 to 2 Megrims out, and your OP would discard about 4 jar hands and take like 40 damage and just die. And it was like a turn 2. It was a turn 2 or 3 deck. Yeah. Like it was very fast.
The trick is that at the end of the turn, when Jar, basically Jar gives you a draw 7 hand, but just for a turn. But at the end of the turn, you discard the card. They're actually just discarded. They aren't exiled or anything. So Megrim will trigger and kill the opponent.
Yeah. The one thing I'm misremembering on the deck, because like I always mix up this deck build with Mind Over Matter, the Mind Over Matter build that used Stroke of Genius.
That was the
Academy.
The Urza Saga combo deck. This was an Urza Saga.
Yeah. It's so close together though that like I kind of mix some of the cards with the deck, but like they both were very similar. They're both just really degenerate.
Just a bunch of fast mana because that form. Okay. I'm gonna.
Are we ready to start?
Yes. Stop. Yeah. Urza block was nuts.
Yeah.
That is. I'm gonna stop us right here. Because we
Okay.
have the next round. The last.
Let's
the
do it,
last
man.
match. Finished. We had Luca continuing his streak by triumphing 2-1 over Necro, and we have the last round. What do you want to watch? We have the second round. What do you want to watch? Einstein versus Lucas or Lorien versus Bailite? I'm kind of down to watch Einstein versus Luca, partly because I don't think we have seen Einstein on stream before, but I also have no
let's
clue
do
what
it.
they're playing.
Let's do it.
We'll also watch Lorien versus Bailite. That's gonna be the Abzan deck that we know and love. Do you have a preference there?
Let's watch Einstein versus Luca.
Alrighty, let's do it. So Einstein and Luca, you are the feature. Is the feature. And I'm gonna try and see if I can set us up for the thing.
Alrighty, man. What's Einstein on again?
Einstein is on.
you got Robin Sorensen over here messaging me. I showed him this this goofy landfall deck. Like I took 4-color blood and put in like step links and like adventuring gear and hell, what's the first striking one? The 1/1 first striker that gets +2/+2 whenever land enters the battlefield. That's it. Like all those shitty cards.
Is not public, so I can't actually tell you what he's on. So that's exciting, I guess. Let me just open Hangout.
So anyways, Robin's telling me that like some dude took a deck concept very similar to this and put Scape Shift in it. And would just like turbo murder people with like these crappy creatures that got +2/+2 for every time a land entered the battlefield. So you like Scape Shift your 4 lands or whatever because you're like a low land count deck, and then you have like 20 like idiots on the board, and you just like cast a berserk on them and kill someone. It's a deck concept, at least. It's an interesting one. It's one of my side projects right now. And I guess I'm just randomly mentioning because I think it's a hilarious deck, and it's also just I think a selling point for like why you'd want to play Canadian Highlander, because you can do whatever the hell you want in it, and it's pretty cool that way. Like if there's a thing you've seen historically that you want to do, you can do that. If you want to just play Time Vault decks and red deck wins, throw burn at people, you can do that too. Like you can do pretty much whatever you want. If you want to dredge, like there's a viable dredge deck. If you want to play Martyr Proc,
that was a new one actually. Like that was.
I think the shell's been around for a bit. I think it's just gotten enough payoff now that it's still not a top tier deck, but it's acceptable to play. It's going to win. If you play it well, it'll generally win more games than it'll lose. So I mean, it's a little different. It's a little distinct. It's a little more mid-rangey than like your vintage dredge, any other dredge that's in any format that has 64 of, and especially against vintage dredge, which is vastly different with 4 bizarre Bagdads, and like it's just very, very strong linear progression. But it still plays similar to it, and it plays a game of dredge, like no shit, which is kind of cool. So like you can play whatever you want in the format. If you want to play Merfolk, Pack Rat, Tribal, you can do that. Like you name it, like anything. Like there'll be varying degrees of quality in it and how it pairs up against what's accessible, what's the most competitively viable in the format. But But you look at the format and like there probably are like 5 to 6 best decks right now, but they span a range of archetypes, to include more combo control oriented decks, combo decks, aggressive decks, and even some mid-range hybrid combo decks that use Time Walk. So I would say pretty healthy, pretty wide format that you can, as a brewer or explorer of the game, can do quite a bit in. So you said Einstein's list is not public.
No, yeah, Einstein. Oh no, I never set this thing up. That is unfortunate.
Okay.
Let's just go here. That's fine. We'll just not have it.
We don't need the hand cam. Just get the game up.
No. The hand cam is fine. I just I was trying to go to the viewer that has the cameras instead of the. Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll have to. You'll have to give me a second because of screen size. It's because the screen limitation is making it a little bit more difficult. Like once I go to the game, I can't modify things anymore. So I'm gonna have to bake everything in from the start, and
Okay.
So I'll need to do that. Let me start by doing this. Okay, yeah, I see the game. And okay, yeah. Luca is gonna be at the bottom. Which means I'm gonna do these. And then do these. And that's great. Okay, yeah. We're about to get started. So we have things mostly set up at this point. Sadly, they have not. So Einstein appears to be on, if I had to guess, Esper control.
Oh, I know what Einstein's on. They're on Oracle combo.
Oh.
It's Oracle combo. I played against them. Yeah, I think I played them the other day a couple times. I think with like 4-Color Blood and Death and Taxes. There's some fun games.
Interesting.
They got real unlucky in one. Like I was up a game and like it was a game 2 and like they were primed to win and they had the Tainted Pact in hand. I'm sorry, no. They had the Oracle. No, what did they have in hand? I'm trying to remember how it worked out now. They were mana shy because they had to counter something and like they couldn't cast the Tainted Pact to find their Oracle in deck, but they also had Demonic Consultation. So they Demonic Consultation on like something like an EOT or something like that for mana efficiency, and like the Oracle was in the top 6. They lost the game. I felt so bad. like It could have literally been anywhere except for the very bottom card or in the top 6. It was like, like 80 card deck. I'm like, oh man. The deck's really good though. That Oracle, Esper Oracle deck is very good. Very strong deck.
I see.
I honestly think it may be better than Time Vault. Is a combo control deck.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just a lot of the pieces that go into it outside of the Oracle itself aren't bad. Like they're not like it's not like key like Voltaic keys, which is like not really great on its own. Or like Voltaic Servant, also just not really great, or Artifact Land's not really great, like all that kind of stuff. It doesn't have all that. It just has like the one bad card, which is Thassa's Oracle, because it's not really a great card in and of itself. It requires other stuff to be true for it to be like game winning. It's just a win con. And then like you have Demonic Consultation and Tainted Pact, and then like, you play some stuff like Mystical Teachings to find that crap and like transmute cards, but like for the most part, it just plays more of a median good control game plan, and then like it just has these multiple 2-card combos, which like, hey, have an answer, and it's very uninteractive. Like, it doesn't matter if you kill the Oracle. If you kill the Oracle, the trigger still goes off, and if there are 0 cards in their library, it checks for 0 and or less. So you win. Although funny enough, I think I was playing against Einstein, and one of the kill spells that does work pretty well against it is if they don't have any other blue cards in play and they just put the Thassa's Oracle down. If you unexpectedly absent it back to the top, it checks for an Devotion 0. Now they're going to win the next turn, but if you have lethal on board, like you win. I haven't won that game. Actually, I think something else happened. Like they made a play. Excuse me, a play mistake. But on Moto, not like per se a play mistake, but a mechanical mistake, like a process mistake on Moto. Which caused them to like bypass a card they needed with like a Tainted Pact or something. But like I had the thing, and he was like, "Hey, I had it anyway, so don't feel too bad. Like I was going to be able to buy my other turn to do the last 70 or whatever." All right, so the grind begins. Never mind. Einstein is not on Esper control, homie.
Yeah, no, I didn't see the Bayou. Their hand was all Esper cards, so.
Maybe they're on the same deck. Liliana, I think I'm thinking of a different deck or a different player. This is not like you don't really want to play Liliana, the last hope in the deck that I'm thinking of. Not that it would be horrible, but it wouldn't be like great. It's mostly a blue deck. Yeah, you got to kill this thing. I mean, right now, honestly, it looks like it's Einstein's game. They don't know that their opponent is on a goose egg, just a bunch of lands. One of them is an island fetch. Once you get that screen down, be able to see how many islands they have.
As I said.
No, it's just I know. It's just I'm looking at island count. Island count is relevant here. Actually, they're going to have island count, so that can get something back from their graveyard. I don't know what cards they have in their bin. When I say get something back from their graveyard, the Scalding Tarn on the turn after playing out the Underground Sea becomes relevant in that it can find Mystic Sanctuary, which can get back an instant or sorcery and put it back on top of the deck. It's one of the things that's really interesting in the format now. I think they are on Esper Oracle. It's just got some cards that just a different build of Esper Oracle that I'm familiar with. Them having played, it's got more green cards in it. Yeah. So one of the things now in these blue X decks that are running Mystic Sanctuary is like you'll tend to save your fetch lands a little longer. I mean, you should save your fetch lands generally anyways. Sometimes you play around like Aven Mind Sensor or like Shadow Dud effects or Stifles, depending on the matchup.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm sorry that you occasionally have to see the screen, the Streamlabs screen, but if I have to change stuff, I have to move out from Moto.
It is what it is. It's fine.
A little bit of the behind the scenes.
I don't think Einstein's on Esper Oracle. I don't think that's the deck anymore.
I think it's just some sort of 4-color control deck.
That's what it looks
Luca
like. Yeah.
makes the assessment that he can't beat the Teferi. Which, I mean,
no, he's not going to. Well, it's not just Teferi. It's got 6 power on board, 4 of which is lifelinking, a Liliana, which is going to ultimate, and a Teferi. So it's like the odds are not in your favor there. It looks like a 4-color mid-range deck, to be honest. You're playing Batterskull, it's probably, could be controlling, but how do I think of these hands? The one thing with ninjas is it really requires an early aggressive threat to kind of get a base down. This Wasteland's going to be utterly savage. I think I keep that hand, Einstein's hand, on the draw. I like having Wasteland Spell Snare on the draw. It's just, kind of like Thoughtseize or Duress on the draw. Same thing with mana bases. You can screw their mana base up and counter their first spell that's relevant. Which
Luca
in this
gets kind of protected by just going Flooded Strand Go, so I'm Wasteland.
That's true. Yeah. Well, it's not. I mean, I have wastelanded fetch lands before in response to brainstorms just to stop them from shuffling away dirt cards in their hand.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you do that here, but like you could,
Yeah, sure. Fair.
You normally do that like late game. You do it late game against a brainstorm if you really need, if you know their hand's just dirt. And you're like, I want you to keep on drawing this dirt. All right. Well, we find a land here. Find an old tap land. Yeah, they're going to brainstorm right now. I mean, they have nothing else relevant going on in their hand. They need to get rid of some of this trash.
Actually.
Yeah. I think you get rid of one of the ninjas here. I don't see what the last card is in their hand, but like that 4-drop, the legendary one is like cool, but like I don't know if you have time to grind like that in this matchup with Caracas. I mean, they have Caracas. I mean, they could just like play it and bounce it back and like Factor Fiction a bunch of times. I mean, it's not really Factor Fiction, but like you know what I mean, like a half-ass Factor Fiction.
Yeah. Factor Fiction
a bunch of times. Whatever it is, yeah. Pulp Fiction. I'll call it Pulp Fiction.
What was the name of that card from Shadows?
Steam Augury. Augury.
No, it's not Steam Augury. There is a card that is that effect. With
Steam Augury is the same effect though, right? It's like where your opponent.
Steam Augury is the one where you make the pile and your opponent picks.
Oh, it gives you the one in the piles. Yeah, it's infinitely worse.
There is one that is with the same effect where you flip 5 cards and one of them is face up and one pile is face down.
Yeah, I know which card. I just forget it. Forget its name. It's not the greatest of cards. It's fine. No, but like even now, like Factor Fiction is really kind of in a rough spot.
Yeah,
I just don't think it's as good as it once was.
I've been carrying Factor Fiction from some of my control decks actually, which is.
I again honestly don't mind just wastelanding them here. Like, I don't mind wastelanding them here. Like, there's a debate to play out this Lotus Cobra.
Yeah, I think you might want to just develop the Lotus Cobra.
They're post brainstorm. They probably got rid of excess lands. Like, they're going to build up on resources in their hand. Like, you're on the draw. Like, you have a landed hand. You have the next 5 land drops. Like, I would just wasteland him here and leave up a counter anything that you play for 2 mana.
Yeah, he goes with that option. Oh,
yeah,
sure.
With that many lands, of course. I mean, like that many lands, I think it's 100% right. Like it's like your hand's not really great, so you want to bide time, let it develop. Get more resources in it. Like you're already up a resource because you drew. Like yeah, this is a grinder. This is a grinder matchup. Like I just think you want to grind them out.
Oh, speaking of ninjas, I got to add the third ninja to my Popper Cube last Friday since I did a bunch of updates.
Cool.
I'm
So
just joining Ninja of the Deep Hours, which is in Loha's hand right now, and Okiba Gang Shinobi, which
cool.
were already there. Apparently, that's a
So
good time to
here this would be interesting. Like they drew the Deathrite Shaman, which I think here what I like is playing out Deathrite Shaman and leading up the snare. I like this play. This is I think how I would play it too. Lotus Cobra I like to play out when I have a fetch land in hand and I can kind of surprise my opponent with like a hey, I got 5 mana this turn, you didn't know about, not 3. And it doesn't really do all that much here. They're going to try to jam their ninja in, and it's going to get countered. I think in general you want to counter these early threats because like playing Ninja of Deep Hours for 4 mana on main phase is not good. It's not Canlander level playable at that point.
It's not Popper playable.
No, it needs to be flat. It needs to be not flashed in. It needs to be ninjutsu'd in. They're going to counter this. That's aggressive. They're going to counter back. I mean, I guess you do. If your opponent thinks it's worth stopping this, you probably just counter it back. I think that's aggressive. I think I would just allow it to happen and play out the ninja and then attack into it. It's not likely it gets blocked. I mean, it's going to get countered anyways, but I kind of like saving the counter spell as the game goes longer. But evidently they're going for a more long-term play of trying to...
Okay, we have somebody in chat that is groaning loudly, and I
don't hear him. Groaning loudly, like I think audibly, or someone just pissed off.
It doesn't matter. Like I heard somebody just like I heard some noises in chat. I was trying to figure out, but I think we have one match that has finished. I was
okay. So as far as this game goes, right here, I think it'll be interesting to see if they opt to play out their ninja here.
Am I stuck on something? Because I don't see any game actions take place.
No, they're stopped right now. Someone's thinking. Einstein's thinking. Their clock's going down.
I'm seeing stuff happen.
Okay. So they opt to leave.
Earlier you were talking about people countering stuff, and I had I didn't see anything, so I was like, wait, what's going on? Okay. Blacklands Paragon makes his or hair, it's hard to tell. Timely intervention in the field, and then probably attacks with the hope of getting of becoming a ninja of the deep hours.
You know what you could do here, though. It's possible, like you could not block and then stifle the trigger and make them replay all this nonsense again.
Yeah,
I guess
they can't replay the Blacklands Paragon is the thing. Like, that play, you have to hope that the ninja has more than 2, right?
It eats up 4 mana and gives you another draw. I don't know if it's better than just playing the thing out and blocking on the ground, though. It probably just block. I mean, you know what they're up to. They're on ninjas, so, like, the jig's kind of up. Like, ninjas is a deck that, like, will get you one time, and then, like, it doesn't get you anymore. You're like, all right, I got to block stuff. Like, I can't let it get through, even if it's just this tiny, crappy Baleful Strix. All right, so they are going to stifle this. And I like this play. It's going to eat up 4 of their mana. In a whole turn cycle.
3 of yours, but it gives you a card back, so...
Exactly. I mean, it's just kind of free. It's kind of free, right? Like, they're just redeveloping the same crap, and now you know they have this card. Like, you're like, all right, I know you have a ninja, bud.
Remanding their ninja in a way, pretty much.
Well, it also drops the equity in, like, draws of better ninjas, because, like, you already know they have a ninja, so you have to... Oh, goodness. There's a Mind Twist.
Yes. I see.
We're gonna see someone's entire career get ruined here by a Mind Twist for 4.
Mind Twist
No, it's 4. That's a Deathrite Shaman play.
Deathrite Shaman has so that's their whole hand. They probably redeploy the Blacklands Paragon in response.
I don't know. I may try to keep that card that gets me more cards, that legend, and see if I can like get lucky.
Like to see if you can get it by hitting
and then it's like jam. If I draw a land, jam it out,
like
back.
The bug thing isn't even the worst, right? The Sultai Charm isn't even the worst.
It's pretty bad. It's not that great. It's a multicolor creature, and play it only kills monocolored creatures. You can destroy artifact or enchantment, and it draws. Well, yeah, draw a discard, so it's filtering. It stays card neutral. Doesn't go up. But when you're getting Mind Twist, it doesn't matter all that much. Like, you're all right. So they kept the card that like they probably could have played in instant speed response anyways, which is probably not like you want to keep the legend, that 3/2, because you have a Caracas in play, and like maybe you can rebuild your hand post just getting annihilated by Mind Twist.
Well, there was a creature.
Yeah, I think this game's over.
I also like it's gonna take a spectacular set of draw from Luca.
There's a life in the loam to help fuel card engine, i.e., tireless tracker. You have a mana engine in the form of Lotus Cobra here. Like this is all coming up Millhouse. I think unfortunately this game has. I don't think there are draws in the ninja deck. I mean, like they'd have to like specifically like have their opponent tap out, draw into the Shinobi, the fallen Shinobi, and like just ranch them.
The whole set, do they have like recall in their deck? Because then, like, you have to be like, oh, top deck
No,
recall.
yes, they do. They do, I think.
So
I think they're a recall deck. Wait, no, maybe not. Because they had they were like recall strip mine and like something else. But they were over points last time. I forget what it was. Because I remember I was like, oh, hey, bud, you're over points.
Yeah, last time I think they were on recall strip mine through name. And then they realized,
yeah, that's right.
Well,
I did. I was like, hey, bud, you realize that's an 11-point spread? They're like, oh, shit. I'm like, yeah, strip mine went up. Or what was it? What went up?
I think we just cut the true name.
Yeah, just cut the true name out. I could see taking the recall out too. Recall's a good card, but
I mean, I agree with you. I think that the way it should work out, I think that realistically, true name should be in the deck. The only thing is that we were mid-tournament, so like we had to like make edits, in a way that made sense, and it was fast. We didn't have the whole day.
Yeah. All right, so we're life in the loaming here. Which can't be great news. So we're going to Lotus Cobra here. Lotus Cobra will come out. They'll make 3 mana. Oh, they're going to just wasteland them into the dirt. Okay. That's a viable play, too. I think if you're going to do that, though, you I guess you don't have to play out the Lotus Cobra there. It doesn't really do all that much.
Yeah. It's just a 2-1, but
yeah, it's not looking great. So like now they can't top deck into the Shinobi.
No,
which I do think is like their one way of like not just getting annihilated here.
The Rattle Chains can get eaten.
Huh?
The Rattle Chains has a free attack.
Yeah, I mean they're 13 though. I mean like you just.
No, I mean I'm not saying they're killing them, but like the Rattle Chains is capable of paving the way for a ninja here.
Yeah, in this case it'd be like Yuriko, which is not bad because you have Caracas to like bounce her back and forth. But like
Yuriko, there's no black
they're. Yeah, well, that's the other piece is that like their mana is just so what ninja can they draw then at that point? Like there's like maybe all right, there's leap, draw a card, give this thing flying again. That card's pretty good, but it's going to die to collective brutality that's already been used. So that card, if they find a black mana, could work, but they're just going to get wastelanded every goddamn turn. So it's like, what are you going to do? I do think you should play out your Lotus Cobra before you do all this other stuff, and generate mana with these cards. To get pressure on the opponent. I don't mind like loam locking them, but I like developing pressure so you can counterattack them here. Just me. So if they play it like they did last time and stay consistent, they're just going to loam and just get back 1 land. Okay. I kind of like just playing the. All right, they're going to play the tireless tracker out. All right, cool. I like this. This is like just something. Like I almost like not even wastelanding this turn and just playing out the Lotus Cobra, playing out a fetch land, generating 3 mana, playing out the tireless tracker, and attacking for 1, and then the next turn go into this loam block and have like significant pressure on them. All right, that's a dead card.
The thing is that they're not really under any pressure because as long as the death rate can keep getting 2 life per turn for a while. So that
but here's a standard axiom in like Canadian Highlander, man. Like like disruption is great, but disruption without pressure is a recipe to lose games. Like get the pressure down and then disrupt. Like establish the means of ending the game and then apply that disruption. In my opinion, like I just think I'm not saying it's going to matter in this game, but I think as a means of like just philosophically approaching games of Canlander, I think generally speaking, like you want to apply a means of pressure first to force your opponent to react to you. Because right now they're not going to be able to react to loam, but like at the end of the day, like you kind of gave them like 2 free turns of attacks wherein they could have had like some just disgusting draws, right? Like they could have had Ancestral Recall happen. And then like, it's like, all right, well, my loam probably my one Wasteland of turns probably, or this card, right? Like this card's going to hit now, and they're going to have 6 power on the board, right?
Is that a Mist Syndicate Naga? It is.
It is, yeah, 6 power. Is that blue and 2 or is it blue and 1? I believe it's blue and 1. This is
blue. It's blue and 1. That's actually the hybrid just made it into my Pauper Cube.
Yeah, I'm not a huge. Okay, they don't have a fetchable land for it. Or it's blue and 2. I can't recall if it's blue and 1 or blue and 2. It's blue and 2, bud.
No, it's blue and 2. Okay. Well, never mind.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm squinting.
Convincingly got their 2 and 1. So...
Yeah. It's just not the best of games. It just kind of ranchings. They're ranchings. Like they were a little bit of ranchings. That's sometimes it happens.
Do you want to watch Lorin versus Bailite or Nicky versus Neko?
Let's watch Nicky versus Neko. I know they're in the lower bracket, but I kind of want to check those decks out.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't know if you got to read those players like Diatribe in the tournament discussion room. I want to see some freaking crazy, some big mood magic, as the kids would say.
I didn't, and then I tried to check, and then I realized that then I'm gonna show everybody Discord, and then I didn't.
No, don't check. You don't. No.
Look.
This is all you have in store here. All right. So 3 cards in hand, 4 cards in hand with an active Sylvan Library, Wasteland, and a Creeping Tar Pit. Yeah, derNicky's in a commanding position here. Oh, and an Escanta. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe we chose a bad one to watch, man. If this is game 2, this game's pretty over. It's two time walk turns with a Sylvan Library.
Is Nicky on that season pass thing nonsense?
Something, but they're winning decidedly. If they have 2 time walk turns,
that has the season's past time walk combo. No,
yeah, I don't know, but I think 2 time walks in an active Sylvan Library and an active Escanta, and and a bazillion cards in hand. Yeah, okay. Games, and your opponent's not countering stuff. Game's over, right?
That is fair.
Yeah. If it's not like you probably did something wrong, like you didn't find the right stuff with Escanta, right? Well, Thragtusk is not per se a game ender because Necropotence is playing Time Vault. It appears they have fabricated at least once, so it's likely they have one component of the combo in their hand. Alrighty. But yeah, when you're basically seeing 3 cards a turn plus a 4th off Escanta, you have 2 time walk turns, you should not lose that game. If you did, there's either a massive deck building error, like 1 percentile variance, or you're maybe not using your cards, you're not maximizing your cards. You got I don't know.
Okay. Let me close these windows so that we don't randomly.
That'd be amazing. It's hard to see. I see your face there, up where Necropotence is at. That's great. It's a good look.
That was Einstein, I believe, actually. But
oh, okay. That was their face. All right. Well, Necropotence is getting the turn, so I mean, they did fabricate. Did they have the combo? They could just have it. All right, I can't. Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to get things set up, and I'm trying to change the names of people on screen, and it's working to a degree.
All right, so we have a Crux of Fate. So
the deck names are gonna be wrong.
That's fine. I don't even know if we need the names per se there. I mean, these are their names. Just look at the names on the Moto printout. I think we're probably fine with that, just to keep the games up. All right, so they Crux of Fate and Terminate. So they have basically, in my opinion, they likely have 1 unknown card and 1 Time Vault in hand. So they are kind of just going to a draw. There was a double Time Walk turn, and derNicky didn't lock it up. That's a Kefnet, but again, the card's good. And it's very good with Sylvan Library. But it doesn't end the game right here. They probably have counter magic. They're leaving a bunch of mana up and not attacking with their Creeping Tar Pit, which under normal circumstances, I guess that's 3 plus 7, 10 to put them into 1. So I guess it doesn't really change the clock math if you don't attack there. All right, so Treasure Cruise, that's a very good one to cast. It very well, so they're going to look for a counter.
I
they're
do
gonna look for
enjoy
counter.
drawing trick cards. It's something I've been known to.
Yeah, I just think this is an interesting gambit because like if this gets countered and they have like just have the combo in hand, like all right, well they didn't find a counter more than likely. So if you have it, you go for it here. I think that's a lot of cards to see. They are kind of tight on blue mana though. They're making blue. And what have we got? Okay. All right, brainstorm. I believe they still have a land drop. I don't know if they're running fetch lands in their deck or not to get rid of trash. Treasure Cruise is one of those cards that can miss. It's honestly like one of the lesser, in my opinion, used blue pointed cards because it kind of stands second fiddle to dig through time. Yeah. All right, just a big old Taziger. Well, if this God Eternal Kefnet hits a time walk, the game is over.
For what it's worth, I play Treasure Cruise in my Blue Moon deck.
Yeah, if you're on small points, like it makes 100% sense too. But
I mean, even when I was an Ancestral, my points were Ancestral, Dig, Cruise, and Drain.
Yeah, I personally go differently in my build of it. I think Merchant Scroll is generally better than TC in that build, just because it gives you the flexibility to find late game your dig, early game against aggressive combo or like just decks you need to stop things on Force of Will or finds you the Ancestral. Meta Leovold, and a lot of legendary creatures in play.
Yeah.
The bird.
If only there was a Caracas to punish all of this nonsense.
Well, Caracas doesn't really do so well against Leovold. It kind of sucks to
you're not wrong.
Leovold. I guess you do it if you have to like draw cards. All right, there's a Sulphurous Fall or Sulphur Springs. All right, so what do you got going on over here?
Pernicious was revealed to
withdraw
to Eternal Kefnet.
I mean, you could play that out because it's actually a good card to play out because it does kind of hold Time Bolt hostage. They're doing all this stuff in the beginning of combat phase, which like I don't think anyone's gonna try to like trap someone, but like if they wanted to, they could just go to their second main and start casting stuff too. You probably want to do this stuff end step for like the cleanest sequencing, but like if you could tell someone's F6, sometimes you just do it.
Topping it up.
Yeah, they have a Miracle up there. They want to draw it with Kefnet. Kefnet's not going to Miracle a top off, or not going to double cast a top. Maybe they forgot that they put those cards in the bottom. Like maybe they remembered their last Sylvan Library ordering. I don't know. That's kind of a weird sequence to put top in, unless like you really don't want top and you could like Field of Rune to get rid of the top. But like I don't know why you want to get rid of top. Like, top seems great. Like it's maybe not like as good as it can. All right, so they're gonna fire up, and this is lethal unless their opponent has a kill spell of some variety in which they get to draw a card.
Oh no. This is all. Consume the meek.
Yeah. That does it. This is like a bug wreck card. I think I actually may have talked to them about this card.
Yeah, put the bar on the mixture.
Yeah, I'm a little delayed. Yeah,
but there's not something you can find. It costs 1 black mana.
Not 1 black mana, no.
But doesn't have the mana to do it.
Well, no, not even Mystic Dispute would do it. Force of Will is a card, but Force of Negation. Force of Negation wouldn't work. Force of Will would be like it.
Creeping Tarpit and Leovold will eat dirt.
Yeah, they'll get killed. So the last card's Time Bolt then, right? So like they're just drawing to an out. They're still dead in another turn, but they've got their opponent tapped out on their main. They should have. They found a Thoughtseize. Okay, well they're gonna get rid of the Time Bolt then.
Well, I mean, ionized Thoughtseize.
So wait, maybe the Fabricate got countered. So if they ionize the Thoughtseize, they put their opponent down to 7.
So if they
hit for 4, let Bolt, they win. Yeah. Or a way to find Bolt because now they've taken the card that stops them from drawing cards off the board.
And the point
Like,
is completely tapped out.
Yeah, dig through time would be great here. A Jace could keep them alive. Like, just bounce the Kefnet. All right, they're gonna draw. They're going for the draw. They get Dispel back. That's not a good one.
Yeah, I mean, apparently, probably their card, the Highlander, also wasn't useful.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it wasn't great. Although it'd be pretty hilarious if it was like Lightning Bolt and they're just getting the Dispel back to protect it. I'd give them kudos for that. Be some great.
They consume the Meek back now. Oh no, they give them Brainstorm. Oh, but they're tapped out.
Give them anything back. It doesn't matter. They're dead.
And Nicky wins the match.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, there was some excitement there towards the end to see if.
Yeah, my assumption is like I must have missed something. Like, I didn't see a counter spell in the graveyard, or a discard spell, but there was a Fabricate in the bin, which I don't know what they got. That was interesting. Maybe I was missing the card. I don't know. Do we still have Bailite going with
that was
loading?
As far as I can tell, the last
okay. All right. Well, how did we end up panning out? So we had victory over Ninjas via what looks like a 4-color non-red mid-range controlling deck. Call it Czech Pile.
By the way,
basically.
that is literally the first game, but the first match that Tuca loses in the 10 points in this 10-point season.
Okay.
My streak is broken.
Yeah. The other deck looked pretty good. I mean, it was like a Czech Pile. Basically a Czech Pile style, like kind of like controlling mid-range deck. It was the tough thing was, Luca. I mean, like the draws did not line up particularly well from like watching how the draws progressed and like opening assets in both hands. Just the resources lined up in a way that it didn't feel like there was going to be a great game, if that makes sense. Just tough. Like the game 2, you got Mind Twisted to Oblivion. Game 1, drew 2 to 3 lands when you couldn't be drawing 2 to 3 lands.
Land heavy
land heavy to begin with. Yeah, and then you drew 2 to 3 lands. That's one of those things. Those kind of keep too, is that like that can happen and it sucks when it happens. And what are you gonna do? Sometimes variance will get you. I don't think I think their deck had the ability to give a very good game. I'm not saying like they won just solely on variance. Like they played it well and like they had a good deck. It appeared. But it didn't run so hot, and like the way that the cards just lined up, like you by playing your deck, to a degree of trying to set yourself up in a position to win, you were going to get ranched by the cards they had, right? It's kind of what it was. So, and then the other game was, it was definitely an interesting one to watch. The second game was almost like a slow moving car wreck. It was kind of a harder one to watch. It's like, all right, we're gonna see this twist happen, and like, I do like the fact. I think you made a good decision to not cast down the 3/1 flash card. I think the plan I was talking to Red Mage about is I think you just let that happen and hope that you get to keep the 4-mana legend that draws cards, and then like you can use Caracas Recursion to kind of rebuild resources with it. I assume that's what you were thinking was.
Yeah.
So I like that decision to not like just cast out your 3/1 dummy and be like, I got a 3/1 and then hand's gone. As it turned out, I mean, like Twist doesn't really care, just discard shit randomly. So you got to keep the 3/1 anyways. But and then we had the fairly exciting game between Necropotence and Einstein. God, who were they playing against? I'm terrible with these names. TRM. Who are they playing? Who's derNicky? Sorry. Interesting game there, where there was a lot of legends, some Tassigers, there were some Leopolds, a lot of lands, a lot going on there, a lot of time walks. It was an interesting match. I like both their decks too. Both their decks look like a hell of a lot of fun. And I haven't played against derNicky's deck. I think they tend to call it Tempo. It looks more like a bug control deck to me.
It's that deck. Okay, yeah.
I think they keep calling it bug tempo, but I'm like, Bud, like I've seen that list. It looks like bug control, And I think it is more on the controlling spectrum, a mid-range deck.
Their points list has like Time Walk and Pod, right, and other stuff.
Yeah, I haven't seen their. I've seen it once.
Somebody else again.
I've seen it once. I don't know if it has Pod in it, but
Luca, are you pairing the founder also?
Yeah, I'm here. What?
Are you pairing the last round?
Oh, sorry. I thought we were still waiting for
No,
match.
we're done.
No,
Was
we're
kind
just-
of
we're just
giving you
BSing.
time to put the
Sorry.
results in.
The conversation was so enthralling, folks, that we distracted everyone from doing their part. You know, it's just it's what you got. It's the kind of personality you got going on here, man.
Luca is helping me by running the actual tournament bracket this time,
Okay.
just because I.
That's sweet. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Einstein trundled me. Bailite won.
Bailite just posted quality broadcasting, and that was it.
Yeah, I mean, that's all that really needs to be said, Bailite. I mean, honestly, like, you know, I prefer an individual of eloquence, and I think you've really hit the nail on the head with your brevity there. Frankly, I mean, that's goddamn some fucking Mark Twain shit right there.
What was the Evermist also was?
Is there an anti-kappa emote? Why would you need that? Why would you need that? Oh, you love it. You love it.
Final pairings.
You know, Bailite, you know what the anti-kappa emote is? It's Abzan when you should be playing blue decks. Oh. Sorry, I'm trolling your viewers. There's the kappa emote. I like it.
Are we watching Einstein versus Bailite? So,
Alrighty. This will actually be a really good one. I think it's a good 50-50
I'm gonna ask
matchup.
that you don't. I'm gonna ask our players to not start until I have everything set up, because I can't really adjust things midway through. So I'm gonna take a couple of minutes to set everything up now. And
okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, just to kind of talk. While you're setting up, I'll talk the matchup real fast. I think this is actually going to be a really great set of games. I mean, it's Canadian Highlander, so variants can happen. Very powerful decks, powerful cards. But Czech Pile 4C, 4-color non-red versus Abzan is going to be very grindy, incremental. Both players will be playing to the board. One deck will have more interaction on the stack. One deck will have probably more play and interaction to the board. But I think what you're going to see is basically a mid-range grinder for all intents and purposes that both players have the ability to interact in a lot of zones. With one of the decks probably having advantage stack, and then one of the decks having advantage board. But I think you're going to see both players trying to fight to get to the board with like the first Planeswalker, cement a means of snowballing the game out of control, and then like riding it to victory in each game. So it'll be interesting to see like how they maneuver in it. And hopefully we have some hands that line up pretty well, so we get some of that, kind of grindy, incremental decision making that you can get in mid range.
Bailite, can I ask that you are the one that creates the game rather than Einstein being the one that creates the game, just so that when the game gets created, things are set up with the who's on the bottom, who's on top thing correct? Thank you. Sorry, you were saying, Loman?
Oh no, I just make sure Bailite's on the bottom.
What is
anti-kappa
what was Einstein on again?
Einstein's on Czech Pile, 4-color Czech Pile. It's just 4-color non-red mid-range control. I call it Czech Pile. You call it whatever you want.
No, Czech Pile is correct. Mm.
Yeah, well, I don't. It's 4-color deck. 4-color deck, lots of colors.
Mm-hmm.
One of those decks, like I'm wondering when Gosman's going to come back, because like you got like this kind of like this big battle cruiser magic Abzan deck going on, and then you've got like 4-color mid-range control, probably a Lands Engine deck, and not probably, like it has Loam in it, so it probably has Strip Mine in it. I don't know that for a fact, but if you have Loam, you probably have Strip Mine. You like these big battle cruiser kind of like just grind people out decks. You need to get some red deck wins up in here. Just throw some red deck wins in there, or some combo.
We've had Gosmith around a couple times.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like Gosma just gets after folks. He's just like I've got a handful of shock.
Player that has
Wolfgang Wolfgang's a more aggressive player, but like they vary up their aggression. Like sometimes they're on like artifact style aggressive decks. Sometimes they're on like Boros decks. Like I haven't seen them consistently always play red, but they do play red more often than not. Like I've seen them play medium red. Like I've seen them play low end red deck wins. Like Gosmit like only plays red deck wins. Like that's, and I'm not like, it's not a disparaging comment. It's just like what they play. They're a specialist at it. Like they also probably don't want to spend a lot of money on Moto, and it's very cheap to play that deck and be effective with it. And yeah, I mean they have a ton of reps with it, and it's just a pile full of shock. I do think their land count's a little low. I've been like revisiting the deck and like playing around with it more, and with like taking Black Lotus out, and you know all that to account for the points changes in the deck. But I do think just looking at like the games we've seen today, like I would very much so enjoy being able to play a Death and Taxes deck or a red deck wins deck in this metagame. I think it would do well. I think it would do well. The anti-Kappa emote. I love it. I love it. Does that mean like you seriously love what I'm saying?
Your maximum sincerity is the.
Oh, I'm always sincere though. No, I troll quite a bit. It's kind of a hobby of mine. It's kind of a habit. Like I just like having fun. You know, it's how I have fun.
As well, for a second, I heard it's kind of a hobby of mine, and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
What's a hobby of yours?
What is a hobby of mine?
I thought that's what you just said. I'm not asking you per se.
No,
like, if you
no,
want to tell me
no.
your hobbies, you can.
I
thought you just said it was a hobby of mine.
I heard you say it's kind of a hobby of mine instead of
habit.
No,
yeah.
Okay, never mind.
And
Let's just go.
And I guess
okay,
like
we have our players ready, so let's.
Okay.
That's good.
Let's get it up.
Yeah, let's do it.
Keep going. Let's talk some Magic.
All right, I instructed our player that they can go. We have their hands up. I'm hoping that they got my message, but I'm gonna
we'll say,
try to supplement the lack of a big screen with my phone by opening Discord on there and see.
We're going to start off with 2 mulligans. Both players are mulligan. They should mulligan these hands. These hands are not good.
Neither of these hands.
Nope. You just want to have lands, and you want to be able to cast your spells. I mean, if
Beams just TasteTheBeams just show up in chat, and they just arrived.
Oh, welcome, TasteTheBeams. You're just in time.
Yeah. I mean, we started late, but not quite 2.5 hours late.
I'm wondering if Einstein's considering this highly, or if they're just okay. There they go.
Okay, sorry.
That hand's also not great. Like, Caracas is such a funny card. Like, I do think it's right to run it when it's an on-color land in your deck, but like it does mana screw you a decent bit of the time. Like, it's kind of a pain in the ass to have to run it.
Yeah, I haven't been running that card in Blue Moon.
No, I don't run it in Blue Moon either. I don't think it's good to play in decks that are not playing whites generally.
I run it in Vault.
Huh?
I've been running it in Blue Black Vault.
I wouldn't. I don't like having lands that don't produce mana for me. I get it. Caracas is powerful, but like folks play around Caracas so much that like, like, all right, they're just gonna fire off this and try to like high roll some lands. Not high roll, but like get a land that they can get their blue with. They did draw into an Oko, which is a very solid draw for a 5-card hand to get because it's a very powerful card.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is it going to get? No, but it's probably going to get.
It'll probably get
scald.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if you hit a land with this, like, Life of the Loam, you can fetch, find a blue-black source, ponder, find a way to kill this thing.
That if you Tide Hollow's call a card from their hand, and then the Tide Hollow's callers get O-code, they never get the card back, because it loses the ability that gives you the card back.
Yeah, so that's not a great play to make. I mean, I guess if you have the Yoko plus the Tide Hollow's caller, it's pretty good.
Tide Hollow's caller took a preordain.
That can't be right. That can't be right.
They don't
Why would they take that? Yeah, they do want blue, but like, I don't know. That seems like.
Yeah, it feels like they're gonna eventually get there, and you don't have the pressure to.
Yeah, and like you have this Assassin's Trophy, which will eventually fix them for blue. I guess like you have the trophy, so like you're
But the
thinking like
trophy also
hacking
kills
trophy.
the Oko, so you have that problem fixed.
I guess Ponder's fine. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know that I like.
Okay,
Was
they're
this
man
Liliana blind?
blind.
What, so they might. Did they? No, they plus. Never mind.
Yeah.
I saw some
I don't
cards
even-
enter the graveyard. And
I honestly don't. No, yeah, it's in the top zone, Einstein zone. But I honestly don't mind if I minus, or if I don't mind if I don't think I mind if like they minus it, because I don't think this is a matchup where you're trying to ultimate your Liliana. I think you're just trying to grind value with it.
No,
I mean,
but
yeah,
you're not unlikely to whiff, right? If you minus there because you have 0 hearts in your graveyard. So
I think it's correct to just plus it there in this context, but I wouldn't think it was crazy either. I mean, because you get this Buyer Triton, and like you can, build up your graveyard.
Yeah, Buyer Triton is gonna give you some cards, and now you have minus Liliana. To
give you some information. Well, but they're not going to. They already plussed it this turn. But yeah, they run enough creatures in their deck. Well, there's a Savine's Reclamation, which is pretty good. This game, well, I mean, if they had a discard spell plus play an Oko, it could still be a game. Not looking great though.
I mean, Oko's gonna probably just make a food and then eat an Assassin's Trophy.
Yeah, but they drew their own Assassin's Trophy, so I mean, they could possibly. I guess they can't ponder. If they could ponder on the same turn post trophy, there's an argument to that, so they can find hand attack to like clear the hand out. This Liliana is not gonna get. I mean, honestly, if you're gonna trophy it, you probably want to trophy it on your turn, so they're not able to minus it and get some value off it and build equity in the Savine's Reclamation that's currently in the bin.
Yeah.
Because I think they're going to minus it this turn. I think if I were Bailite's position, I'd minus the Liliana and try to get back something. I mean, there's a Noble Hierarch that's like the lowest, the thing you'll get back right now.
Yeah, but Noble Hierarch is not great.
Yeah, but it's a card, right? It's just another card.
It is a magic card. Yeah. I kind of don't like starting by just slamming the Oracle of Mooly Dooley and see if you get if you high roll some lands.
I'd probably play the Forest out first and leave the fetch land to do it. I know it takes a land. If you have like 2 lands on top, you don't get to play all of them out, but I like having a fetch land with Oracle of Multi if you're going to do that.
Yeah,
so play Forest first, yeah. And plus it also leaves you a fetch land to find either half of the mana you may need to cast Assassin's Trophy if you want to deal with this Oko on this turn cycle.
Oracle is also like really scary. That's a land-ish, but sadly not one for the purposes of Oracling.
You just shuffle it up here, and I think if you do shuffle it here, your opponent is going to a trophy. Maybe not, but
I would.
I think I would have trophied on my turn, but I guess they're so low on resources they can afford to kind of wait and be a little bit greedy because, all right, well, they didn't have their other lands, so they don't get to trophy this turn, which means Oko is going to get to do something, and their opponent is actually, there's an opportunity to like just blow up the Tidehollow Sculler and get back.
Oh, no, they minus the Liliana, and that found them a land.
Okay, well, they got there.
And the Liliana flipped 2 non-creatures, so they got
Well, they have a Nissa, which will flip next turn with a land drop. So yeah, they're winning this game pretty decidedly. I don't think there are many outs to this. I mean, like, what are the outs? Like, you cast Assassin's Trophy on the Liliana, high roll a sweeper effect.
You get your ponder back.
Get your ponder back, and then like find like a planeswalker, like a Jace. Can't even cast Jace right now. I don't know. It's not great.
Maybe Chad would start playing some dudes and hopefully win the game in short order.
Yeah, you're not casting at the same turn though. Yeah, I mean, that's a good card. Yeah, I mean, it's a fine card for sure.
Chad being the specific Chad variant we're talking about is Ally of Zendikar.
Correct, yeah. Of note, like there's quite a few of those, but of note, if we had Assassin's Trophied on our own turn, if we're from Einstein's position, if you had Assassin's Trophied on your own turn, which I do think was the technically correct line against this Liliana to stop them from getting more value, because I do think the down tick is pretty relevant here. Bailite wouldn't have gotten there on this Assassin's Trophy, which would have allowed them to at least acquire a 3/3 on the board. So,
yeah,
it's not irrelevant. All right, well, Siege Rhinoceros is just a big dum-dum. Unfortunately, it dies to Cast Down, which is directly on the top of the deck.
Yep.
And it dies to Mire Triton in combat. So it's a Band-Aid.
Ooh, Titania.
Yeah, I'm a little behind, so I'm assuming that's
Top
just
of the
game.
library.
Like, this is just a beating at this point. This is not good.
Yeah, no, I mean, probably Cast Down kills the Rhino. The Bailite gets in for 6.
Yeah, this is again just one of those games where like I don't think I think the
Titania
trophy I do think the
doesn't-
trophy I think the trophy line like could have ended up changing how this game played out, because if you have a Siege Rhino plus an Oko for a whole turn cycle, like it just ties up their mana a lot worse.
Ooh, Sabine's
No.
Reclamation gets back to Lily.
Yeah, no. I mean, this game's way over, dude. I mean, it's just this game's it's done. Like
The grind is pretty real here.
no, there's no grind. It's just done. Like there was.
No,
it's just
I
like
mean,
really.
you're right.
It's, it's more of a one-sided beating. like it wasn't the most. I mean, it's a 6-turn game, which is fairly short for both these decks.
Yeah,
in
it
terms
was
of
definitely value centric though, right? Like it's not like
Sure.
people were exactly like it. We didn't see just somebody it was about
playing
accruing value. Like the creatures on Bailite side of the table are just random tutus.
Sure,
right?
but
They
it
aren't
wasn't highly back and forth.
No, that's true. Like Bailite definitely got into a commanding position and then just
land concede. Yep. So, yep. We'll go on to game 2. And that's most games of just Magic in general, in my opinion. Is like there's a certain percentage of games that, you if you play correctly, you'll win, and if you don't, or if you do, you'll win. There's a certain percentage of games where the same is true for your opponent. Like you're not going to win it. And then there's the ones you have to play for, and this is probably one of the ones that like it was going to be, bad variance for Bailite after the first couple turn sequences based on both players playing correctly, like to get dislodged from a commanding position. I do think if there's any play decision that like Einstein can go back and look at, it's consideration for use of Assassin's Trophy on their turn to limit options on the Liliana. Given at that point in time, they know their opponent has a Savine's Reclamation, but Savine's Reclamation, I feel like, is just going to get you at any given point in time. So, you limit what they are capable of getting. We are playing it out here. I guess we're just playing it out for information, to see the next card in their deck. So they're going to pass it and see what's beyond Mind Twist. They're moving that card a lot. Is that you or them?
That's me.
Please stop.
Me.
Please stop.
I'm just entertaining myself.
Fair enough. There's a Tireless Tracker. These are kind of all cards you'd expect to have.
Yeah, of course.
And now, all right. Concession. All right. All right, they're going to let them attack? Okay. We're going to let them get the damage in. Makes sense? Okay.
Bailite Twins!
Yep. On to game number 2. Alrighty. Oh, Bailite's playing Stoneforge Mystic. Evidently, they've got a clamp.
Yeah, there was
and
a cheat
sword
in
of
the
fire.
graveyard last.
And the unpointing of Stoneforge really hasn't changed much in the format, because the card probably should have been a point.
I've seen. So I've seen. I know that has been Jeremy White. Has been trying to put Stoneforge Mystic back in blue-white control just with Barrier Skull as the only fetchable. I don't know if that's now that it's not a point anymore. I don't know if that's gonna stick. I was talking.
Yeah,
to him about it the other day.
Yeah, I play an Esper control shell that just runs Batter Skull and Stoneforge Mystic for value. It's fine.
I mean, Batter Skull isn't embarrassing to draw on its own.
No, and the aggressive matchups just fine. You just play it out. Even if you play it on as a 5-drop, it's like, okay, it's not great, but it's fine. Like if you get to that point in the game, it probably means you traded their resources and like you're not dead yet, and that just allows you to stay alive. And eventually,
Please go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Do 5 mana 4/4s have like a name? You know, like 2 mana, 3 mana 2/2s are Grey Ogres. Or whatever.
No. But it's funny though because like I recently I was playing with Sira the Benevolent, and I still don't think that card's that great. I think it's a very niche card for the format. Oh goodness, are we gonna see another mulligan into Oblivion and like a ranching because they don't have mana? Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna see. The Czech Pile looks like it's gonna get its lunch eaten today. But anyways, Sarah the Benevolent, one of that card's abilities, say Planeswalker, starts off with, I believe, 4 loyalty or 5 loyalty. It has a -2, I think it's 4 loyalty. It has a -3, I'm sorry. It has a -3 where it makes a 4/4 Vigilance flyer, which is a Sierra Angel for basically 4 mana. Sierra Angel, it turns out at 4 mana, still a really good card, even in this format.
Captain Cool, the answer to your question is that, as it turns out, you don't, because you don't have a second mana to do it. Well, now you do. But,
yeah, they got the land, which is good. It means there will be a game.
We're gonna see a game, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, like if they can land this Jace on the following, if they had a blue source, they can land Jace. We're in the money. Now it's going to get roto-rooted by a goddamn questing beast. It's just going to annihilate them. Well, so like the first time I played that card was like literally yesterday. I just put up a VOD on 4-Color Blood, which is like basically a Eurolander deck that like was ported over to Canadian Highlander. It was made more aggressive for a while due to the fact that like the format's just faster. But with the recent point changes, I kind of wanted to go back to like a more value-centric 4-color non-blue mid-range deck that's like, aggressive, but like still, has value lines. What a goddamn beating that is. Oh,
instead of a Jace, we saw a Liliana show up, but it got eaten by Questing Beast all the same.
There's a Swords to Plowshares in the bin, so like you can Snapcaster down and then plow the beast, and then hopefully high roll land, and you could just remand this to try to like, all right, they're gonna counter this. They don't have a blue source and a white source, so they're short. Yeah. Oh goodness, yeah, they're short. They're gonna get him for 5.
Tasty.
And Jace bounce.
Notably, 5 is relevant because if they do get to play Jace the Mind Sculptor, even if they send it up, it's still in Questing Beast range.
They can blow up the. They can cast out the Night of the Autumn to blow up the Skull Clamp. Yeah. I think you just play out the Strix to draw a card and see if you can hit a land.
Night also has the issue that if you blow up the Skull Clamp, it still doesn't block Questing Beast, and you are at 7 life.
That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking like that maybe it makes sense just to cast out the Baleful Strix, which also cannot block, but you don't take a damage off of it. If you hit a white source on the following turn, you can Snapcaster Swords to Plowshares, and then possibly turn this game. You could, and then trade. Yeah, that may be reasonable.
Then they draw a bunch of Skull Clamp cards, which
it's not good, but like you're dead. I can see either.
We went with me in the 4/3.
Okay, I can see gaining the life too, and like just trying to hit that land because you're in a rough spot here.
Yeah, I don't know. Like if I'm going to try to just buy time, I'd rather just kill the stupid Questing Beast because the next thing they put this Skull Clamp on is definitely not gonna be as scary as a Questing Beast. Turns out, oh, never mind, I lied. That's about as scary as a Questing Beast.
Pretty good, yeah.
So let's play out the night right now. So.
Yeah, I mean, even if they Jace bounce it, they're just going to get ranched by this Vengevine. That's a Maelstrom Pulse. It can at least blow that thing up. Puts them down to 6. They take a 5 hit, down to 1. Turns off the Nurturing Peatland. Their outdraws are like Tundra, and they go Snapcaster plus Plow, and that stabilizes them. So they can stabilize at 1 life, given standard estimation of how both players probably will play this. Mm-hmm. I don't think you play out the Strix here. I think you just got to pulse this Knight and take them off of Finding Wasteland, which puts you so far in the hole that you're just, you're already in a hole. Like it just seals your fate. All right, they don't believe me. I think you do have to pulse here, though.
Yeah.
They hit the land, but that's unfortunately going to put them to dead, right? I mean, I guess they can block this Knight, and then they just take 4.
Yeah.
And their opponent draws more cards.
Either way.
They can also remand here. They can remand. Never mind. They can remand this Vengevine.
Yeah, that cost them another life, but.
It costs them a life, but I don't know. Maybe you don't. Yeah, they're going to do it. They're going to find Tundra here.
At this point, there is an argument that maybe what you do is you crack Knight. Like you crack one of your lands using like you don't attack into the streaks and find like a wasteland that you can start,
That's what I would do. I would just grind them out here. Like, they're obviously mana shy right now. Just take them off mana. They're going to attack, though. They want more cards.
Drawing cards is good.
Yeah, it's very aggressive.
They found a Tainted Pact. That's going to find a Siege Rhinoceros, maybe?
Maybe. It doesn't really end the game here. I mean, they have to, being fair, like, their opponent's on a lot of resources here. And if they just go for, I guess, like a Thoughtseize, that doesn't really stop this, though. You obviously can't Jace. You can play out the Deathrite Shaman and then leave up Snapcaster plus the Swords to Plowshares. I like that line of play. It's good against. I mean, I guess Vengevine's going to go to exile, but like you start gaining life back. Like, this game is not unwinnable. Like, it's not good, right? Because there's this tainted pack, which is probably just going to sweep the board, and like kill 2 of their mana dorks, and they're going to be forced in a position where they didn't draw on their land. Like, it's Bailite needs to screw up basically for Einstein to get back into this. Yeah. And that's kind of one of the issues when you start getting into 4-color pile decks is like you need your colors, right? So it puts a much more stringent burden on you as a deck builder to have the colors and the colors right in the deck to make it work. That said, there's a lot of great color fixing in the format now, and like in Modern Design Trend, like you have Prismatic Vista, you have a lot of cards that like really, the variety of duels over the course of the game's history that really do help you to stay current, to keep the deck's mana continue to get better.
Yeah.
I would say in a lot of cases, 4-color decks and 3-color decks have better mana than 2-color decks a lot of the times.
Depending. But yeah.
Well, it depends. If you're like a 50-50 split, I think if you're a 50-50 split 2-color deck, like let's say you're 50-50 blue-red. So like the most 50-50 split blue-red deck is going to be blue-red blitz, right? Like this, the very low-end aggressive, like real aggressive, like, blinking strobes, like, Teamer Battle Rage style, like, attack blue deck. That uses like leaps and like distorting strike or distortion strike, stuff like that. That's gonna be a 50-50 split deck, and like I oftentimes find like those style of decks, because they're pretty much equally dependent on both red and blue, have much more difficult mana. They're like playing like a tempo deck that has like a 70-30 split between like the color requirements and the cards that they run. All right, so here we go. Yeah, you probably play out your Snapcaster so you don't die. Also, there was an option here did they already make their land drop? If they haven't made their land drop, they could have played out Ooze, eaten the Swords to Plowshares, and then played out the Vengevine. I believe they knew about their opponent's hand. I can't confirm that. I think they hand attacked once, so I think they knew about the Snapcaster. So they actually possibly could have forced a trade here with the Deathrite Shaman, which is pretty bad if you're playing the Deathrite Shaman. You probably actually I think you Jace here, bounce this Ooze, and get him for some damage. And then they're going to play this Nissa out. They will likely I guess they don't have to make a 4/4. I kind of like just Jace bounce. Like, it doesn't develop your mana situation all that well, but like, what do you think on that? You still there, bud?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I spaced out
Okay.
for a second. Yeah, no, I agree with you that I like deploying the Jace. It gets
Jace
you
bounce,
started.
man.
Yeah, it gets you started on. It buys you some time. Gets you started on replenishing your hand. Although,
Yeah. Well, and you
like-
need to get rid of this. You need to get rid of this Dark Confidant. This card's just bad right now.
Doesn't do anything.
And what you ideally want to do. Okay, that's.
Logger him to Turk.
I mean, I guess you got Jace still. Like, you can still get bad. It's rough. Rough beats. They kept the best card in their hand, though. They lost the shittiest 2 cards.
Yeah.
That's good. That means like it's just better for more games of Magic. For more better games of Magic. Like, if they lost that. The game's probably over. They find a land here. They can flip this thing. Probably make a 4/4 and then put an ooze out. And then the bad news is the ooze will probably get pulsed. The Jace will probably bounce the 4/4. Maybe they can't make a 4/4 here.
The good news is that the good news is that if they do, if the ooze gets pulsed, you do get to draw 2 cards.
Yeah, but like, how do you defend your onboard card engine?
No, you probably have to plus the Nissa.
That's a way to do it, but the mana's not tapped right to be able to do it. Like, you can just bounce with the Jace too. Just bounce this thing and then just you can also bounce and then pulse them. They're not going to equip it. All right, well, you just pulse the hell out of it. And you get free brainstorm off this. This is good.
Yeah,
that's another good one right there. Path to Exile. Okay, like, yeah, you get a free brainstorm here if you want it. Like, you know, I was kind of singing a dirge for Einstein here, but you know, Bailite's hit a lot of lands. They have had some decent draws too, but they obviously have hit quite a few lands. But they're in a spot that, like, I think they could lose this. One of the downsides is, like, they actually don't have enough damage on board to kill the Nissa, so they may actually have to Swords to Plow or Path to Exile. All right, well, there's more kill spells. There's a Life from the Loam, which, you know, gets them into more mana. Yeah. I think I like just killing everything. Kill it all. Like,
things
keep
not
a land.
To take out of context. I think I like just killing everything.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think that's what you do here, man. I think you just kill it all. Like, you keep this Dark Slick Shores to develop your mana base. You put the Loam and the Trophy, which is a great follow-up answer to this Murderous Rider, on top of your deck. You go ahead and Path to Exile this Ooze. You Maelstrom Pulse, the Nissa or the Clamp. Probably the Nissa. You probably leave the Clamp because you got a follow-up answer on top of your deck for Clamp. Yeah, I mean, like, they're going to lose this Jace to the Murderous Rider, but I think they have a means to grind back into this game, especially with Loam coming up as a means of card advantage. So, Captain Cool, do you mean, like, I'm tracking the adage on Bolt the Burn, but do you mean, like, Abrupt Decay, the Stoneforge Mystic? Is that what you meant by your comment?
No, that was posted, like, turn 2.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just curious what they meant. Do you know what they meant? They mean Stoneforge Mystic?
I don't know. I assume so.
Do you mean Murmuring Mystic?
We didn't see an Elvish Mystic running around.
Yeah, Elvish Mystic, Murmuring Mystic.
Unless they meant Deathrite Shaman, and Mystic was a miss.
I don't know. Yeah, you generally kill mana dorks, although using a 2-mana removal on 1-mana cards is generally not the best. What do we have happen here? Kind of a pivotal turn. That's a fine quote. Just kill it all. Mm-hmm. It's the album title of my favorite Metallica CD, or I guess LP at the time. Just get them. Anyways, so we're 3. We have life gain. We have a way to answer this Ooze and or this Murderous Rider. I think what I like doing is, maybe you don't have to hold it. I think you fetch here. And then
I think I missed something. How did the Jace die?
Fetch.
Oh, it got miraculously ridden. Yeah. Of course it did.
Yeah, they had removal. Yeah. So what you do here, I think, is you crack your Nurturing Peatland, find your Loam, use your birds and your Tundra to get back some of your lands, and have up Assassin's Trophy to try to draw this Duress out of their hand and also build up your mana base, just build in-hand resources. It also allows you to leave up Deathrite Shaman to gain life, or, yep, they agree. I like this line. And I think you just leave up, I guess, yeah, you could leave up Swamp 2 here if you wanted to, just to play around Wasteland as a possible draw. I guess Wasteland doesn't play around. I guess you play Fetch Land to play around Wasteland here, which I think makes sense. But if you were going to play around Wasteland, you'd probably leave Swamp up. They're just going to fetch right off. Okay. Don't mind it. I mean, it's fine. Okay. So they're just going to trophy right away. Yeah. I mean, it's fine, I guess. They're going to remove this thing.
Bailite finds a snow-hover forest. Wait a second.
Huh.
Bailite has 2 forests, simply.
Yeah.
Didn't they tainted Pact earlier?
Dude, I don't know how people build decks. I don't get it all the time. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, fuck it. Like, if you hit your first forest, you got to be really careful. I don't know. Forest is a hard stop. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not saying it's wrong. I will normally only play forest and a snow forest when I'm playing a tainted pack deck. This is a duress for I don't know to see this peatland, which they know they have in hand.
I did not realize that was a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. We're doing it.
Yeah, I see that now.
It's been working out for him pretty well. So I mean, can't talk too much crap. We'll get the old. Now this unearth doesn't work on this card because it's gonna go to the bottom of the deck. What do they have in their bin? Can we pop it up? I have a Tarmogoyf. That's a big card.
I'll do that right now.
It's Tarmogoyf.
Goyf. They got a Kambal. Kambal's pretty good. Completely locks Einstein from playing any non-creature spell, so that's nice.
I think the Camball, or what's the other card? Kurnos. That's Camball.
They got a Tide Hollow Scholar. They have a Knight of the Reliquary. Speaking of cards, are pretty good. They have a Nissa.
I mean, like the opposing deck is playing creatures too. I mean, they're gonna get a draw off this. Need to draw, like, see what they're gonna find. That's a creature and it blocks Camball, right?
It does, but you know,
it's a good draw.
I think as long as you get to hit this Kambal around, the fact that your opponent can't cast non-creature spell is still going to be a big advantage for you. It's kind of impressive that Bailite has drawn 6 more lands than Einstein did, and he's still very much in this game.
Well no,
lands.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though, right? I mean, like, they started off with a much more landed hand. I mean, like that advantage, came from the opening hand sequence. It's a very good draw right there. That's going to allow them to tutor their deck, and it's going to be very hard to cast a removal spell with a Kambal in play.
Yeah, Fauna Shaman, especially now that the death rate is dead. Fauna Shaman can.
That Finks is really big because Finks is going to allow them to draw a removal spell to kill Kambal and open up their spells here.
Also,
they also have an attack. Right? So I would just get in there. Yeah, I would get in there. Like, if they want to eat your Leovold with like a double block, like Fauna Shaman's probably worth more on the board than your Leovold is. Like, yeah, the Abzan deck can draw cards, but like typically speaking, it's just tutoring for good cards.
The other thing that Sphinx did is that this Fauna Shaman could have just find the Rhino and be like, well, here's the Rhino, and now you're dead. But now they're at 4 life, so that's not gonna work.
Correct.
The Bailite draw a creature. Relevant. Oh, he just draws Siege Rhino. Okay.
Yeah. It's a card you could have found. I mean, there may be a better card in that deck too.
Tutors away the Siege Rhino. What is better than Siege Rhino?
Emrakul.
I forgot that was in their deck.
I forget. Yeah, it's something they do. Good thing when you flood out. All shot on the Emrakul. They are going to get to draw a card, which is going to be used by their opponent here. They're going to lose their Leovold. They could possibly get out. It's a Ponder, so they get to cast and do 2 damage themselves, then draw another card and do 2 more damage themselves with whatever the Ponder finds.
They're probably they're going to lose the Leovold.
Well, they're going to cast the Ponder to kill them. They're going to cast it and do 2 damage to themselves, and they're going to cast Life from the Loam.
They also do a Life from the Loam.
Yeah, it's 4 damage or 4 life loss. So they cast this, take 2. Quit hitting yourself. All right, cast Ponder. Let's see the Emrakul finish.
Completely forgot that Emrakul was a card in their deck.
Yeah, I know. That's a thing that Bailite does in their deck. Anyways, it was a cool set of games. It was fun to watch. The second one was actually really interesting. It was a game that it seemed like it was a real uphill battle for Einstein. I think they did a pretty good job of navigating their way to a place where they set themselves up, I think, based on the draws and the mulligans to be able to win. So I can definitely laud that. I think it's good. Game 1 was just a beating. Just didn't pan. A lot of mulligans. But there's always next time around. I think both decks are pretty well paired to play a good game of Magic. But if Bailite does flood out, be warned. There's definitely an Emrakul in that deck. It'll get you. It's a grinder.
I moved us to Luca versus loading.
Yeah,
with
sort
only
of
3 minutes on the
ninjas
clock,
versus
so versus
what
the
is it called?
black
Mono black
I've been
skateboard
calling it mono
finger
black tech.
skateboards. No, that's what they call it. It's mono black finger
It's like
skateboards.
a small finger skateboard, something like tiny.
Yeah, that's
fingers.
right. Yeah, that's something crazy. That's cool though.
I'm
Luca
gonna be
is
preferring to the deck as mono black tech. But,
Luca's pretty low on time here.
yeah, Loha's
under 3 minutes.
less than 3 minutes. It is unclear
Okay.
what the match score is.
I would hate to see a game go to time.
Yeah, it
You
would
know.
not be amazing. Azra Smoke Shaper is certainly a 3/3.
Yeah, it's a card.
Doing his best Hill Giant impression here.
It's probably one of the last types of creature that you would ever name in the blind. With Plague Engineer. Azra? Like, how many other Azra are there? I guess it's a ninja. Maybe you name ninja.
There's the what's his name, right? Isn't the guy that when the 1/3 warrior, that when the warrior damages.
Yeah, there's another Azra. There's some other Azra.
Is that an Azra?
Yeah. There's a couple.
They were in Battle Bond for the most part. That's where.
There's more ninjas. You could definitely name it ninja and not be like too bad. Not too wrong. Yeah, Mind Blade Renner, it's the one that makes them discard it for every warrior that hits them. It's a good card, actually. I was just looking. Someone was asking about Black Mold, and I was considering putting that card in there and having like a warrior sub theme, so you could just like annihilate people's hands.
Yeah, there you go. But now we have successfully found 2 playable Azras.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
that other
definitions of playable.
questionable. I like ninjas quite a bit, but I don't like ninjas as much as Luca. I like 3 of them. And like, there's a bunch of them that I just don't think should be played. I'll be honest. Just me, some other folks think differently. Like, I don't think Ninja of Deep Hours, even though people love that card, is good in this format. I think it's too mana intensive. It's too risky. Like, it's just not a good enough card on its own to play. I really like Yuriko. I do like the big one. The what's that big dummy called? Yeah, that one. The one that just like utterly wins the game when it hits people. And then the middling one, the 4 mana one that comes out for 2 and just draws a card for each ninja that hits them. That card's pretty good too. Those 3 I like, but the other ones, I don't know. Like, they're cool. What's going on? We ran out of any designs. Packard, what about the COA? Is like your work stuff here?
No, I just I didn't want us to be on the Google Hangouts window, so just.
Okay.
This is currently the window that we're on is the
there's
folio.
There's the one I was talking about. These cards are just really not impressive when they're played out as independent threats, though. It's like a 2/3 that, like, you can block this Bloodghast, which is good, I guess. You can't block a Skin Render. And that's one of the kind of the downfalls of like the ninja / tempo deck is it's
cards like Ingenious Infiltrator over, say, Ninja of the Deep Hours, outside of the blocking Bloodghast purposes, are that they is that it actually counts all ninjas.
Yeah, it's a better card.
Edge. Bleeding Edge.
I mean, it's one. It doesn't really matter all that much here, man, because like the thing is, like, the threat density of Please Wait's deck and the removal density is enough that like they're going to be able to apply continuous pressure, and if they just have removal, like ninjas is relying on like their threats to hit people's face, and if you have mana advantage and you have removal, you just wait for them to do their thing and like put their big dum dum into play, and then you just kill it with like a Doom Blade, and you just hit them with 2/2s and 1/1s. Doesn't matter that much, right?
I would just like to remind our audience that they had the Bleeding Edge was recently cast.
Yeah, it's just a removal spell. It doesn't really. I mean, it could be what is it? What's the hex one? Like destroy 6 target creatures.
Well, it's kind of closer to a Necrotal, right?
No, I'm kidding. I'm just talking about bad removal spells. It's not a great removal spell. It's a bad removal spell.
But like, it's not just a removal spell. It's kind of closer to like a Chupacabra or Necrotal or something like that.
Sure.
Right? Because it does leave behind like an idiot. Granted, it doesn't leave behind the best of idiots, but it's an idiot.
Yeah.
Blocks, attacks.
Okay, and I think that's game, guys. That would be game. Unless they have like Vapor Snag, can keep them alive at 1.
Nope. And that was the match.
Alrighty. Yeah. Yep. We have another game going, or is that it for
I
the
think
week?
that's it. I'm gonna check. No, as far as I can tell, that was it. So let's go back to our studio, which I mean,
Yeah.
this
Your
view
house.
here. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
this view of
Okay.
the
Well, hey,
of
bud,
our.
I'm gonna cut out to take care of some stuff on this end. I really appreciate you having me, and I hope I was at least an anti-Kappa emote as far as commentary goes for this week, Bailite.
It's always great to have you, Loman. I'll thanks for helping me with commentary. I will
All right.
I'll close that out.
Okay.
Thank you for
All right,
being
man.
here.
Take it
Later.
easy now. Bye.
And also again apologizing for starting late to everybody, but we had some problems with stuff. This worked a little better than I thought, but it was still pretty rough working with only one screen. If things continue, I'll see if I can do something different next time. Either way, I want to congratulate Bailite. Bailite, you around? Yes? No? No. Okay.
Bailite is here, but has no match.
I want to congratulate Bailite for winning the event again, and I want and apologize to again for all the technical difficulties that we had this week, as we were trying to make things work out to make the best of a not great situation. The thanks to all of our players for showing up. As a reminder, if you type !Discord in chat, which I'm about to do right now, you get to the Canadian Highlander Discord, which is what we run this tournament off of, and it's also just a great place to just hang out with people. If you want to... I'm sorry. Just sign up for next week. !Next poll gets you there. And that's your sign up poll for the tournament. If you have been watching this video and enjoying this video and enjoying the content that we over here at the 10th point produce, as much as that we over have the 10th point produce, consider subscribing. We do enjoy. I do have some ideas of where to lead the channel that could use a little bit of funds, so that would be incredibly swell of you to do that if you decided to. That said, I think I'm about ready to sign us out, and if we do,
leveling certain abilities makes you
I am super down to go raid somebody. We have okay, please no. We have Engineering or Surge up. Let's do Surge. We raid Engineering basically every other day. So let's go raid Surge Jaeger. Raid Surge Jaeger. And yeah, that said, thanks everybody, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks for being here. Bye bye.
Bye.